Hey guys, and welcome to today's tutorial on another one of my favorite page styles. Okay, so let's just start with the tutorial for today. And the first step we always need to do for any of those page styles is to cut and score our cardstock as well as our pattern papers. And for the measurements, you can refer to the cutting guides and templates which are available in my Etsy store for different album sizes. And when I cut my cardstock and pattern paper, I always like to label all the elements I have cut. So this is just an example on how to use your cutting guides for cutting and scoring your cardstock and pattern papers. And then after scoring, you can go ahead and do the next step. So the next step for this page style is to attach tape right next to the scoring lines. So we have already scored our cardstock and now we can take our 3/8 of an inch tape, so at least that's what I like to use. And you just want to make sure that you place it on this little flap we have created with scoring. And you just place it right next to the scoring lines without actually covering the scoring lines. And after attaching our tape, we want to cut off the corners of the little flaps we created with scoring. So for this, I like to turn around my cardstock and then I get my small scissors and I just cut it an angle right next to the scoring lines. And just make sure that you don't accidentally cut into the scoring lines, but just next to them. Once you have cut off the corners, you can go ahead and actually fold up the little flaps we created. And for this, turn around your cardstock because you don't want to fold it up on the side where you scored it or where you placed the tape on. So we want to fold it on the back side. And then I also like to get my bone folder and burnish it down. And now we want to attach our cardstock elements B and A to our basic page. And I actually like to start with the cardstock elements B. And for attaching them to the basic page, I just remove half of the tape backing and then I hold up the sticky side and I use the non-sticky side to actually align cardstock element B to the basic page, to the edge of the basic page. And then once I have found the right position, I go ahead and remove the rest of the tape backing and stick it down. And then the second cardstock element B, you want to attach on the opposite side of the first one. Now you can go ahead and also attach cardstock element A, and this element is a little bit shorter than the cardstock elements B, so it fits perfectly in between those cardstock elements B. And you want to make sure that when you attach it, you don't accidentally cover the scoring lines of cardstock elements B, because you want this to fold nicely in between cardstock elements B. So now you can continue by adding the pattern paper for the basic page onto the basic page, and for this I like using wet glue instead of tape, because by using wet glue you're still able to move around your pattern paper and find the right position so that you have an even border around your pattern papers. And then before also adding the pattern papers A and B onto the cardstock elements A and B, I decided to actually round the corners of those cardstock elements. So I got my corner punch tool and I just go ahead and round the corners, and you want to do that before actually adding the pattern papers, because of course you would also need to round the corners on the pattern papers. But this step is definitely optional, so it's just like how I prefer it to do. But if you don't have a corner puncher, you can of course just skip this step. So now I have my pattern papers prepared and I can go ahead and just attach them to the cardstock elements A and B, and I only attach them to the outside yet. So again, I use wet glue for attaching my pattern papers, and then I go ahead and I burnish it down by using my bone folder. And because I noticed that I used a little bit too much glue, I got my glue eraser and I just removed all the glue marks on the border. And now we want to attach our white eyelets onto our cardstock elements B, and for this I like to get my ruler and then I also grab a pencil and I just make sure that I find the middle of those cardstock elements and I just mark down the middle first. And then after marking, I just get my hole puncher, so I actually use the crocodile and then I just go ahead and punch those holes. So now we need those white eyelets. So get your eyelets and then you just want to place them into those holes, and then you need your eyelet setting tool. I again use the crocodile, and then you want to be careful when setting those eyelets, because you don't want to set it in completely, so you don't press it all the way down, but instead you just want to attach it very loosely to the cardstock. So make sure that you just press it slightly so that your string, which you will add later, will be still able to wrap around those eyelets. And then you can get your string and you just want to pull it through one of those eyelets, and I actually prefer to have it be on the top eyelet. So just pull it through from the outside, and then I like to get a small piece of tape and I actually place one piece of tape underneath the string. So I place it on the cardstock, I remove the tape backing, and then I just stick my string end onto the tape. But then I also get another piece of tape, and I usually use wider tape for this, and I actually not only cover the string but I also cover the eyelet back side, because the eyelet can be very sharp, and also by covering it with some tape and using some pressure against the eyelet, it will actually stay in place. So it's no longer loose, but it stays like this, and you would be able to wrap around your string. And I actually haven't cut my string yet, so what I do then is I just wrap it around the bottom eyelet and the top eyelet. I usually wrap it around 3 times, and then I just cut it so that there's a little piece of the string still hanging on the bottom. And then again another piece of tape to also cover the bottom eyelet from the inside. So now that we have the eyelets and string attached, we can go ahead and cover our cardstock elements A and B on the inside. So again, just get your pattern papers A and B and then use some red glue to attach it to the cardstock elements. And with that, you have finished the page style 31. And I really like this page style because you can actually fit a lot of things inside this page style. So I have added a journaling tag, then I also included a little photo booklet and then a larger photo mat, but you could still add more photo mats or booklets inside of this page. So yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed today's tutorial. And if you did so, I would love to get your feedback in the comment box down below. And of course, it would also mean a lot to me if you could give this video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So I hope that you are having a great day, and I would love to see you in my next video.